Captain America 4 New World Order villain reveal. Let's see what everything always has to say about this and check this out.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Redman, aka Allfires. Now, we had a saying about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness way back in the day before it was ever released, and it went something like this. If even half the cameos that were rumored for that film actually showed up inside the movie, then it would be as big as Avengers Endgame. And as it turns out, there were some pretty big and amazing cameos in that film. And as we've recently found out, some of the characters that were named by industry insiders like Ironmonger and Boulder the Brave were actually in the original concept art and storyboarding for the film, just never made the final cut. That's where we find today's film in Captain America New World Order reaching those same levels of rumors. So many different characters now at this point reported to show up, with a brand new one on the list, or should I say rather a supervillain group, the Serpent Society. This coming from an industry insider alongside some news about the Red Hulk. We're going to break down what they recently said about what we should expect from the film and what role the Serpent Society may play. I think it's pretty clear given the landscape of what's going on with Thunderbolts, what's going to happen during Captain America New World Order. We're breaking it all down, but first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel, and that's all we do. Everything from official Easter egg breakdowns, trailers, and reviews to the occasional industry insider report and everything in between. So if that sort of thing's for you, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. That will automatically enter you to win our ongoing PS5 giveaway. If you want, stick around to the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so this was tweeted out by the Twitter scoopster and industry insider Can We Get Some Toast. That's at Can We Get Toast on Twitter, who does have somewhat of a track record. And again, remember, I'll give a lot more reverence to an industry insider who will put their name on this sort of thing rather than just your anonymous 4chan or Reddit post. They tweeted out, yes, it's true, Serpent Society are the villains in Captain America New World Order. Now, if you're not familiar with Serpent Society, believe it or not, they were actually some of the original villains rumored for Captain America 4 before we even knew we were getting that film. They're basically a group of superhuman mercenaries, all using snake aliases, Anaconda, Death Adder, Sidewinder, you get it, who basically unionize, who look at the Avengers or the Fantastic Four and use that as a blueprint, but for their criminal organization, and remember, they're supervillains. And while you may argue we've seen something like this before in the MCU multiple times, either with the Vulture and Tinkerer set up back in Spider-Man Homecoming around the Chitauri technology they were peddling, or even real recently with the Kingpin and his crime syndicate, they're nothing on the level of Serpent Society that remains described as, quote, the best organized and most successful coalitions of criminals, basically in the 616. Now, referencing what I just said about the Serpent Society making a lot of sense in context of the MCU's landscape, first and foremost, their first paid assignment, their first gig, was a contract on MODOK's life. Yep, that's right, the MODOK we're about to be introduced to in Ant-Man and the Wasp. They're actually hired to kill him, and because they're successful in this, it's actually what establishes the team. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to do this or that MODOK's days are necessarily numbered, but if he should happen to make it out of the quantum realm by the end of Ant-Man 3, and out from underneath Kang's rule or sidekick status, back in the 616, he may reboot AIM or get involved, and then as an extension from that, end up crossing paths with the Serpent Society. It is coincidental that one of the main elements and keys to their story is about to be introduced as well. But that's not the only way they connect to the current landscape of the MCU, and especially when we reach Captain America New World Order. Now, in the prologue, I referenced the myriad of rumors that have already piled up about this film. And for sure, the only villain we know that's going to show up, as introduced during the live presentation at D23, is the leader all the way back in the day from the original Incredible Hulk film. Now, that obviously had to do with a lot of the setup they did during She-Hulk, them being able to obtain She-Hulk's blood in the intelligentsia, and whether or not the leader ends up fleshing out that team doesn't matter. It'll be She-Hulk's blood that ultimately leads to Thunderbolt Ross's transformation into the Red Hulk, which, speaking of which, if you have Harrison Ford and you spend that kind of money to bring him back as Thaddeus Ross and then turn him into a typically villainous Red Hulk, he's going to be the main villain of the film. The reason that Sam Wilson would have to compile a small Avengers team, as we've heard for other rumors, alongside the fact that he'll be President Ross at that point, and that this will actually all be centered around adamantium showing up on Tiamat, which feels like way too much for them to get through in the first film. But remember, typically Avengers films all open with some sort of conflict. The first Avengers film, it was Loki invading the base. In the second Avengers film, it was them infiltrating Hydra. In the third Avengers film, it opened with Captain America versus Crossbones, who was a villain in that film, but not one of the main villains by far. And of course, Endgame's a little bit different. It opens up with a conflict with Thanos, but not an all-out Avengers team fight. Speaking of which, though, you could say Crossbones is a great example of how they may choose to use Serpent Society in this film. Work them in as the Act 1 dummy, something that the current Sam Wilson conglomeration with his sidekick Falcon, whoever else is working with him, 2 or 3 people could easily clean up, and that can forward the plot, finding out that they may be working in conjunction with Red Hulk. They're his current mercenary team, and if they should be defeated and or at any point throughout this film, that would lead way for there being a second mercenary team to step up behind them. A second mercenary team that we know is coming in the way of the Thunderbolts, and obviously the people on that team, not super villains like they are in the Serpent Society, but not favorable individuals in the eyes of the US government. Most of them at some point have been war criminals like Yelena Belova, Red Guardian, or even Bucky. Speaking of the US government, the only other update we got, and coming from Can We Get Some Toast, the same industry insider / Twitter scoopster, was that Red Hulk will not be hidden by Marvel in the normal way that they've tried to keep these sort of big reveals until the film, or only give us snippets before we get there. He seems to indicate that Red Hulk Harrison Ford will be front and center and all transformed into Red Hulk. And while I find that sort of hard to believe, because I really feel like they would leave that transformation for the film, Can We Get Some Toast seems to say otherwise, and I will get into the spirit of that only in the same sense I just mentioned. You're paying Harrison Ford money, you're making him the Red Hulk. That's a huge thing. If you have all these other reveals in the film, maybe it is best suited for marketing if you run him out there right away. Look, Marvel Studios decided to go the opposite way of Sony, and instead of trying to keep it secret and deny that Hugh Jackman's Wolverine was going to be in Deadpool, they just put him in marketing from day one. They may choose to do the same thing with Harrison Ford's Red Hulk. But you guys let me know down in the comments how hyped A, you are for this film, B, how hyped you are for Harrison Ford's Red Hulk, and do you agree that it's starting to seem like there's a lot going on in this film, but it wouldn't be any more ambitious than, say, something like Civil War? I'm all ears as always. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. Okay, we're still giving away PlayStation 5s, and instead of subscriber milestones now, we're going to do it to coincide with the release of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is right around the corner. If you want to be entered to win, or for any of the other giveaways at the channel, all the same rules will always apply. Hit the subscribe button because you need to be a subscriber, then leave a comment down below. Because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced at the end of videos, the same way we're doing here. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on. And as always, if you liked today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. You can find me in a couple of places: Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, wherever you listen to original music under the name Allfires. And while I sincerely appreciate you checking my music out, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.
Please subscribe, like this video, so watching. Great day, and see you guys. Bye. And thank you for watching. Please like this video, subscribe, and see you guys. Bye.